Hello, everybody. So I think I might have actually found my calling because I played an indie horror game, and I have watched many gamers. Not very many, but I've watched Daz Games, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, Kalis, Scottish Geek Plays. I've seen them play a lot of indie horror games. And a friend of mine said, yeah, you should really give those a chance because they work so hard to bring that to life. And there happens to be a lot of indie horror games, and most of them are free on Steam. So, what I'm kind of thinking of doing is playing Lightless. Lightless is another indie horror game. I played it once before. It wasn't really my thing. I was really into it up to a certain point. Like, it was really drawing me in. But then it got to this point where you had to, like, draw on the wall. And I had a shitty computer, so it wasn't really working the way that I had planned. So, now I no longer have a shitty computer. I have a good computer. And I can do a lot more. And I have better tools. I have a new microphone. It is a Blue Yeti, which is actually what's recommended for Twitch and Streamlabs. They have a lot of perks that go with that. I have yet to find that there's an app. There's an app that you can add to this that can help its performance. Before, I just had I don't know what it was, but it was from China. And for all I know, this one's from China as well. But this was like made in China. And it was nice. Like, it's really good if you're going to be singing on Bad Lab. But as far as getting clear, crystal clear voice quality, it wasn't really working for me. And, you know, I just thought to myself, I was like, I'm not going to play indie games. First of all, they cost money. Second of all, you don't get the full game because they haven't finished it. So it's like a demo, or it's the prologue, or it's just the beginning, and then later they release a longer game. Normally the demo or the prologue is usually free. Then after that, they find that they can make money off of it, which why not? You know, it's usually not very expensive. They usually want like maybe $4 or $5 for it, but the perfectionist in me and just the way I was raised kind of just does. I just want to, for some reason, I just like want to do research on what I'm buying, you know, because I don't want to buy something that's going to be short. But then at the other hand, I won't be on here all day, you know? It's not going to take all day to do, you know? So I can actually just play an indie game and get done within an hour. I mean, there's nothing really that wrong with being on Twitch all day, but come on. I'm a human being. I need some downtime. I need to eat. I need to sleep. I need to spend time with my family, talk to my friends, you know. Do things, have some R&R, you know, that kind of thing. Rest and relaxation, you know. Yes. So don't I didn't want to play indie games because they just, especially the horror ones, they're just too short. But then, on the other hand, I'm looking at it logically. They're not that expensive. We'll start with the free ones. As I said, I'm going to start with Lightless. Lightless is a kind of a... It starts out very simple. It's a simple kind of game. It's very two-dimensional. There's almost like a platform to it. You're going into a house. You go into a hotel room at first, and then you venture into this house, and there's something wrong with the house. So there's that, and there's something also that I would like to play, and that is there's a lot of horror games that I would like to play, but I think I might have actually found my calling, because it just would be fantastic for me to play a genre that I am very passionate about. I just never imagined that I would be the one playing them. For most of my life, I've been a follower. I've been someone that is in the background. I've been, saying, "Oh, you're doing this. I totally support you." I've been the supporter. I'm the fan. I'm the paparazzi. I'm not really paparazzi. I'm not that aggressive. But I'm part of the fan club, okay? I thought that was my role. I thought, okay, yeah, I'll just be in the bleachers while everybody else, everybody else does what they need to do. That's not how you live your life. You don't wait around for people to do things. If you really want to be seen and heard, you have to go out there and you have to get out of your comfort zone. And that's very scary, because a lot of people will tell you that the world is a minefield. Like, one wrong step, kaboom, That is a possibility, but not the whole world, okay? There are areas that are safe. There are places that you can go that will potentially be safe, but no place is 100% safe. There are hackers, there are scammers, there are trolls, there are bullies, there are all these things. And bullies and trolls are really easy to deal with. First of all, just don't respond. If you do, completely just say, that doesn't bother me. Your opinion does not bother me, because it's, first of all, to a point, we do care about what people think of us. Like, we do as human beings, but at the same time, if that gets to be our main focus, it gets to be really unhealthy, because we're sitting here thinking what strangers think of us. They don't know us. They don't pay our bills. They're not in our life. They don't know our story. They didn't grow up with us. So, what's the problem here? If a stranger let's just say somebody comes up to you and says, "I don't like you," it's going to be shocking, especially when you don't even know that person. You've never met them. This is the first time you've ever met them. And just in a real life scenario, you would be like, okay. But then you'd look at it and you'd be, yeah, is that the worst thing? Not everybody has to like you. You're not everybody's cup of tea. You might be annoying to somebody. I have been annoying to people my entire life. I don't know why. I think people just didn't understand that I wasn't purposefully being annoying. I was just being me. I was being myself. And I didn't know who I was. So I just thought, well, I must be a horribly annoying person who's very selfish and lazy and has no empathy for anybody out in the world. Well, I grew up and I found out that wasn't true. That was a control tactic. And a lot of people will tell you things about yourself that isn't true because they don't want you to find out your true potential. Because if you do, you'll leave them. Some of you have probably had husbands and wives, ex girlfriends and boyfriends, family members and friends that are like that have those narcissistic traits where they want you for a purpose. They don't. It's not because you have this great personality or you're just amazing to be around. It's because you give them something that they can't get elsewhere. And that usually means like money, uh, physical affection, uh, you know, it could be, um, attention. It could be doing a specific task for them. It usually takes a lot of labor on your part, and they don't want you to know how strong you are. And that's the misconception. Oh, hello, Timothy. Yes, I'm here. I just decided I'd go live. Let me text you back. Um, yes, I have seen Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I have. I thought the first one was fantastic, actually. It was fantastic, because it's Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Yes, but it is fantastic. The second one, it was a little bit wonky. I didn't really understand it. It was nice, Johnny Depp showing up. And I haven't seen the third one. I really do admire Mads Mikkelsen, but I also adore Johnny Depp, and I understand that they didn't take him on because of that trial with Amber Heard. And, he made mistakes. I mean, we all get involved with, I think we get involved with people that are potentially toxic one way or another, and we have to find our way, and I think he is an amazing human being. He's just struggled. He struggled with substance abuse. He's struggled with depression, but I do hear that he is going to be that there's going to be a Pirates movie, and I do think he might be on board. If not, it might be some sort of prequel. I don't know. It's interesting. I have no idea. But I'm hoping that he will. That's something that we're going to be looking forward to the future. I am actually thinking of doing a full-on Pirates of the Caribbean marathon. Because I was about I think I was about 9 or 10 when the first Pirates movie came out. I had never heard of Johnny Depp ever, and I was like, who is this man? As I see this I hear this adventurous music playing, and he's on a ship that's currently sinking, and he's just going there, and he's just posing there like this is the most natural thing in the world, like he's this swashbuckling adventurer, and I just thought this man is magnificent. He's hilarious. Who is he? Where is he from? What is he doing here? And I've had ups and downs with there's been moments where I haven't been watching him in movies, and he's struggled with his career as well. There's been some movies that just didn't do well, and but for the most part, he's a very giving individual. He gives and gives, and I don't think a lot of people give him much in return. I think he's had a lot of people who have probably taken advantage of him, and he's really humbled himself. He's become very different, and I never thought that he had an ego problem. I thought there's always something about him that is always very troubled, and I think that's what appeals to a lot of people, is that he is troubled, and also obviously he's not neurotypical. Like, he's obviously like neurodivergent or some sort. Maybe he has some form of autism. I don't know. But a lot of his characters have to do with struggles, Edward Scissorhands, even Jump, even a 21 Jump Street. It all has to do with emotional struggles. Benny and June, a lot of those, they just, they deal with a lot of very sensitive subjects. And, yes, he's in a lot of Tim Burton movies. They kind of have a bromance, you know, a little bit of a bromance going. It's a friendship. There's nothing romantic involved, but a bromance is literally where two guys, they share a unique relationship. It's not romantic. It's usually just like they're roommates, or they live across the street or something. It's like the odd couple. They're essentially the odd couple. And they're still friends. And surprisingly, even though like Tim Burton looks really old, you have to remember he's actually the same age. He's around the same age as Tim Burton. Johnny. Yes, Johnny and Tim are both around the same age. So I'm guessing anywhere from like 48, maybe 48 to 50. I don't know. I have no idea. But exciting news! I'm gonna be going to see The Little Mermaid this Wednesday. There's a matinee, and it's only $5. So I'm looking forward to that, because I really want to. There's not good reviews, but then again, I think why people get so disappointed. They get so disappointed with remakes of anything, whether it's a reboot or whatever, and they just think remake. It doesn't matter if it's like taking place, 20 years later, or it's taking, or the fact that it's just a unique take on a similar story. They just trash it because they're like, it's not like the original. No. That's like saying Evil Dead, the reboot, is better than the original. First of all, Evil Dead, gosh darn it. That was one of the worst horror movies ever released. It was so bad, okay? I mean, it's hilarious. It's so funny. And that's one of the reasons it is a cult classic, is because it is funny. And Ashley, who literally has no backbone in the beginning, he's just like, as Bruce Campbell would say, he couldn't act out of a paper bag. And that was a very harrowing experience too. He sprained his ankle, so he's limping through halfway through the movie, and then he did not have a new change of clothes. There was no running water, no electricity. They were putting freaking fiberglass in their eyes so that they would look like they were zombies, and then corn syrup was in his hair because of the fake blood, and it was all over the cameras. They rented the cameras and they couldn't take them back. It was just one thing after another, and it was just, Bruce says that it was hell on earth. It was the most hellish experience that he ever had, and the women in that movie will not talk about it. And I don't like to make fun of trauma, but just sometimes I can't help it. It's such a funny movie. I'm just thinking to myself, like, what would they be saying to their therapist? Would they be like, I can never see a cabin again? But I'll spare you that. I'll spare you that. But I thought the reboot for Evil Dead with Jane, I can't think of her name. I really like her a lot. I really like her a lot. I don't know what her name is. What is her name? So yeah, her name is Jane Levy. So Jane Levy is in Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. It was on Hulu for a while, and it's a fantastic show, musical. Um, there were people singing that I didn't even know were capable of singing. I was like, I did not know Mary Steenburgen could sing. I was like, okay. And so I loved it. I loved it. It was fantastic, and I'd like to see more of it. But she is amazing because in the movie she goes through a lot. She dies like twice. She becomes a deadite, which is like a zombie, but it's smart. She becomes a deadite. Then her brother, who kind of knows that she had a near-death experience in the past, says, hey, you were dead for like you remember that time when you were dead for like 5 minutes? And she was like, yeah, well, I'm going to try this again. I'm going to kill you. And I was like, oh, brother, you shouldn't have. Thank you so much. So he does. He like does something to kill her somehow. And then he does the defib. He has like some sort of electrical cable somewhere, and he brings her back, and ta-da. Then she cuts off her hand. And she's like rolling in the blood and trying to get out and going, and I'm just like, I didn't see her. As I said, I saw her in a really bad movie, and I don't recommend it unless you want to waste your time doing that. It's called Bang Bang Baby. It is on Tubi, or it was the last time I checked. And it's bizarre. It has her in it, and I thought when I saw this, I thought, why is she singing like that? It's like so flat and like lifeless, but then I realized that was part of the character. She was singing in character. Turns out she knows how to sing really well, and she's actually a fantastic actress. That was not her finest hour. That was not her finest film either. It's a very obscure movie. It's like a 1950s movie on acid. It's like you decided to see a 50s movie, one of those, Beach Blanket Bingo or something. You decided to watch one of those Frankie Avalon movies, and then you were doing acid at the time. Yeah, it's very weird. It kind of has this Nuke 'Em High feel to it, but it's not in a good way, and it's almost like you want to laugh, but it's taking itself very seriously. Like it's showing it's a drama in a way, and it's called Bang Bang Baby. Literally a very tragic story. It's like the girl, the father, who was played by Peter Stormare. In case you don't know who Peter Stormare, he was the guy that put Steve Buscemi in a wood chipper in Fargo. Tall guy. He used to be blonde. He's from Sweden. He plays Russians and Germans for some reason. Very fantastic. He's a fantastic actor. But he's the father. He's a drunk. He's very dependent on her. She wants to win this contest, singing contest, so that she can get a record deal. So she has this piece of paper, and it says, okay, you've been chosen. Make sure you have this piece of paper so that we know that we chose you. So she does, and she tells her father, and she says, I'm going to get a record deal. People are going to hear me on the radio. It's going to be so fantastic. And so she was really happy about it. And, but one day, the father just takes the paper and just throws it into the fire, and it just goes downhill from there. It gets to that point where you don't know if what you're watching is reality or just a really bad trip. It's a kind of a what the fuck moment. You're like, was this all a dream? Was this just something that she was making up in her head? Or is this just really a bad, just like a really, it's but the first time is probably going to be pretty bad. But I think the second time, if you give it a chance, maybe it'll get better. I don't know. But Jane Levy is in a lot of things, and I really admire her, especially after seeing Evil Dead, the reboot. But I think people, they often will compare things to other, they will say, oh, this isn't as good as the original. Well, what you got to do is, like, if something is a remake, you're going to say, okay, this is literally the same story, it's the same characters or similar characters, but it's in a different alternate reality. It's in the multiverse, okay? It's the multiverse version. It's the alternate dimension, okay? That's what I said when people watch Matilda the musical. Is don't compare it to the American one with Danny DeVito. That was unique. There's not going to be another one. You need to be open-minded and realize that you're not going to have something that's going to be a duplicate. You can compare them, but you're going to have to say, okay, this is original, and it is good in its own right. It's original, it's good. It has, and I saw Matilda the musical. It was really good. It's more based on the book, and it was on like the London circuit for a long time, for 15 years or so. It was also on Broadway a little bit too, and it's very British. And I think some people were like, "Oh, that's horrible," but I saw a lot of people saying that they really were impressed by the children. And yes, the children, I mean, they hired real children. And the young girl that played Matilda was from Ireland, but she was doing a northern accent really well. So, and she's only like 7 years old, and she's singing in an accent, talking in an accent that isn't her own, which is just marvelous. She probably will. I think she definitely might be a star one of these days. So yeah, she was very impressive. And Emma Thompson as Mrs. Trunchbull, at first I was gonna not like that, but I was not expecting that. I was like, oh yeah, she's gonna sing a little bit, she's probably not known for her singing, so, because I've never really heard her sing. Maybe I've never heard her sing, really. Big fan of Emma Thompson. That whole thing, all it was just, it was kind of just like a cotton fat suit. It wasn't made out of latex or anything. It was just, it's stuff. It's literally just pillows and whatever. And, cause she's very slim, she's a very slim woman. And, yeah, she had some big boots, some big platform shoes to make her look taller. And then she had the whole face, and that only took about 2 hours. They wanted it so that it didn't take that long. They didn't want she didn't want to sit there for 6 hours while they apply this makeup, because it's always like 6 hours on and then 1 hour off, and it's not always, but it can be. And usually what they do is they find ways that shortcuts so that they cut the time in half, so it's only 3 hours. They do that for the makeup, but it was quite good. I was not expecting her to have this Broadway voice. I was expecting her to be. At first, she was just like, okay, I'm singing really fast. It was more talking, and then all of a sudden, she starts getting better. She gets better as she goes along, and Trunchbull is like a big part. She has a lot of solos. Miss Honey, no, only one time does she sing. Miss Trunchbull is like the queen. She's the queen. She's a queen bee. She gets to sing as much as, like, and every time, every song that she does, it gets more difficult. It gets more complicated. She has to, like, really belt it out there. And it's very impressive, and I loved it. And it was on Netflix. It might be there still, but I don't know. But it is good, and I just tell people, like, don't go in there if you're looking for something that's exactly the same, because if you're gonna look for something that's exactly the same, you're gonna be disappointed. First of all, and I don't understand that. Like. not to. I'm on Facebook, and I follow a lot of horror groups. I don't usually like them, but every once in a while, I look at my news feed and I see someone saying, "Oh my gosh, I don't like Jordan Peele's movies. They're like so horrible." And I'm like, well, maybe you just don't understand the message, you know? Maybe it's quite possible that you're just too white to understand. I'm not being racist. I'm just saying that a lot of the time, Jordan Peele is from Key and Peele, the comedy duo with Keegan Michael Key and Jordan Peele. And Keegan Michael Key is the tall one. Jordan Peele is the shorter one. Jordan Peele made Get Out, Us, Nope. He also made the reboot for Candyman, and a lot of people did not like Candyman because they thought they didn't. I don't think they understood the meaning of. There is always a hidden meaning, and the meaning is usually about some form of racism. He is trying to address that problem, and he tries to kind of show that the Candyman isn't just like one person. It's several people. It's several people who it's like several people who embody that hatred from all of that oppression, the oppression that the African American community has had to deal with. And it starts in the days of when there were slaves, or when there was not equal rights for all people of all races. Hello. Hello there. Thank you for joining. But yeah, Candyman is one of those things. It's talking about how he is not just evil. He is a vigilante. He's like Batman. And he's trying to fight white oppression is the whole goal. Yes, he murders people. He murders people, but you deserve a follow. Thank you so much. I would love for you to follow me. But yes, I think a lot of people don't understand that because they're looking for something. They're looking for something in particular. And Jordan Peele's movies usually have there's many layers, there's many messages that you can get from it, and you have to watch it more than once to figure that out, and you kind of have to think about it. But it's showing that Candyman isn't just one person. He is like the Grudge, essentially. He is a spirit of rage. He's a spirit of rage, and he kills people because he is angry. He is all the anger of every African American out there. He is trying to fight for, I guess, the African American community. That's what he's trying to do. But he also does it with violence. A lot of violence. So it kind of leaves you somewhere where you're like, is he a hero or is he a vigilante? Is he evil or is he good? He's kind of in between. He's a little bit in between because there's a reason he's angry. There's a reason. So he's not just one person. He is, and they state that because this takes place like 20 years after the first one. That boy that was saved from the fire is grown up now. And he realizes his role. He realizes why it wasn't, because there's some people, in science fiction where it's always like, there's always somebody that was meant to die. There was somebody that was meant to die in history, and if they don't, it becomes a problem. So the universe tries to kind of balance it out. Now, to balance that out, yes, I am talking about the Candyman. The Candyman, yes. the horror movie. Um, it's the reboot is really worth watching, okay, because it's a fantastic film. I I love it. It was a lot of people were very angry, and I think that's just Facebook. They're just like, this, all of this sucks, and I'm like, your attitude sucks, but never mind. But it's like, if I don't like something, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you how. It's got to be really bad if I'm gonna sit here and tell you how horrible something is. Like, because I'm a positive person, I'm not gonna sit here and go, "This was so bad, as shit." I'm not gonna do that because I'm not a Debbie Downer. I'm not gonna sit there and say that. Um, yeah, it is supposed to be kind of a nightmare, but you have to remember, um, if you notice in the movie, he doesn't kill anybody that's really like yeah, they kind of go over that he isn't just he's very similar to the evil water spirit that's in The Grudge, where it's like the rage of several people. It's not just one entity, it's just all of them. So it's like the souls of everyone that was drawn to that. And so throughout the years, there is always a different Candyman, and they show that. They show that the one in the first movie was not the only one. And I love uh, Tony Todd because Tony Todd actually put live bees in his mouth. I'm not joking. That's not a story. He actually did it. Um, he made it to the point where he had like an insurance policy where if he got stung so many times, he would get money. So he made $20,000. However, I do believe the girl that was in it, and I can't think of her name. I think it's Virginia Madsen or something. She's very beautiful in the first movie. Oh, what the hell? Yeah. So yeah, so in the first movie, they gave her little baby bees, and they tested her to see if she was allergic to bees, and it turns out, no, his mouth wasn't gone. He had a retainer. It was a retainer, that protected the top and the bottom of his mouth, so they wouldn't sting him. But when they're on your face, yeah, when they're on your face, yeah, he got stung. Um, but I think, believe it or not, like Madsen literally said, so the girl in the movie, the beautiful woman, the journalist, she said that she felt really badass after she was able to like have bees on her, and they were just baby bees, so they don't have much of a sting. The bees that he had were just normal. He had a retainer that would keep him from swallowing and would protect his mouth because they're bees. You know, they're protected. And so he can't because it's a cover. It's a whole cover. It actually blocked his throat. It's a retainer. It covers the back of the throat, so there's no way that he could have swallowed him at all. If they have retainers. If you're wondering if anybody had any chance, normally people don't do this. They CGI it in. They computer generate it into the scene later, to where oh yeah, there's a giant spider coming out of their mouth or something. But they usually don't do that. That was unusual for the time, but it was very realistic. But no, there was no. They made very sure. They made sure that he did not swallow them. He did not want to. No, nobody. I mean, the worst. That's not the worst thing you could swallow, really. To be honest. I mean, for instance, if you swallowed one, uh, you'd probably be fine. You know, people can eat scorpions and stuff. There's something about if you eat something that's poisonous, like a scorpion or a spider or something like that. If you swallow it, your stomach juices will actually just deplete it. It will, because you have really the the stuff that's in your stomach breaks down the food. Oh yes, of course you're gonna cook it. You don't want to eat that. You don't want to eat that raw. No. You cook it first, and that mellows it out. But yes. But if you were to eat a bee, I'd imagine it would die instantly, and you would be fine. And then you would probably extricate it eventually. I suppose. I don't know. Nobody swallowed a bee. I have no idea. But no, thank you. All I know is if you do not, this is the way it is. If you are calm around any sort of animal, I'm going to say, especially with bees, just be calm, because they can, they, if it was in the Stone Ages, you would die. Probably. I don't. Yeah. Please cook your insects before you eat them. I'm just saying. Most things, like spiders, for instance, they don't really have enough venom to worry about, because they have to actually bite you. And if you notice, in a lot, as I said, they don't even have live spiders when they have actors and stuff. It's usually just like rubber spiders or something. And if you have to remember that a lot of these animals are not trainable. Like, how do you train an owl? How do you train a spider? Like, how do you do that? How do you train a frickin' lion? Okay, please don't eat the actors today, thank you. No, they're usually in a different... Well, yeah, just don't do that. Just don't do that at home, because unless you have a retainer and a great insurance policy, don't do that. But yeah, people used to do that. That's what people used to do. That's what actors used to do. They used to have to do everything by themselves. There was actual, like that scene in Hocus Pocus where Billy Butcherson has moths coming out of his mouth. Those were actual moths. I'm not joking. That was not CGI. He had a retainer that was very similar. It protected the top and the bottom, the tongue and everything, and the back of the throat. But unfortunately, the retainer, because it's a retainer, it goes right here, like right here. The retainer there, you have to, like, you have to pretty much hold your breath, or, you know, you have to hold on to your spit, otherwise, and then go like that. And Doug Jones actually explained that. He was like, that was awkward. Yeah. And then, of course, you know, afterwards he had to spit in a bucket, and that was the kind of thing that he had to do. It was really funny, actually. But now we don't do that. We just CGI it all in, and because not everybody is a fan of insects and a fan of moths. Moths are actually really cool, because moths, they eat butterflies, for one thing. But they also help, most of us think that they are pests, but they do help clean the environment. And unfortunately, yeah, they eat our clothes. I'm sorry. And they do breed quite fruitfully. But they do have a purpose, and they're actually really cool. All animals are really cool. You don't necessarily want them on you or inside your mouth, but There you go. That is why Toby, that is why Tony Todd is a legend. A legend. He's also been in Star Trek and Stargate. He plays Cisco. So in Deep Space Nine, he plays Cisco's son, future son. So when he gets older, he meets the future version of his son and meets him, and it's Tony Todd. And he also has a small role in what was it? In Stargate. Yes, they all have a purpose in an environment, and sometimes the purpose is to be far away from us as possible. Like spiders, I'd like them to be... No. Whenever I am in a game, it could be This is one of the things. If it is... Whenever I'm in a game, whether it's a dungeon game, it's Spyro or Skyrim or whatever, and I see a giant spider, I am just like... You know, in the beginning of Skyrim, that game is in Skyrim, which is like Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings, kind of like that. You know, and there's a giant spider, and one of the first quests you have to do is you have to like escape a dragon, and when you're escaping the dragon, you go down into this cavern, and you see all these spider webs everywhere, and I'm just like, no. I was just like, I'm not going in there. No, I'm not going in there. I don't want to go there. So I just kind of stood there, and he's just like, he's an NPC, which means it's not a person. It's just somebody that has a series of responses. They're usually a guide. They do usually a random number of things. You can talk to them over and over, and they won't remember that you talked to them 5 seconds ago. They are just robots. Very simple robots within the game. Anybody that isn't another player and isn't you is a NPC. They can kill you, but they can also be your guide. But in this case, this guy is a guide, and so he's going through this cavern, and the spider just comes down. And let me tell you, it's like 6 feet tall, and I'm like, nah. Yes, non-playable character. I forgot what it meant. Yes, it can be a boss, too. An NPC is just literally, it is programmed by the developers, programmed by the people that make the game, or who are involved with making the game. They're not real. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but you're not real. And so they don't have but yes, so this NPC was leading me into that spot, and I just didn't, I was just like, finally, I kind of got over it, and I decided to get in there, and I was like, okay, I'll go in there, and I'll hack at it a couple times. Thankfully, that NPC, was defending me. That was part of the program in Skyrim, is that he was supposed to, so I just had to whack at it a couple of times. I just went, bleh, bleh, bleh. And then it just went, bleh. And then it just like, bleh. NPC, I'm a Minecraft player. Know what you are, I can create you. Yeah, pretty much. Know who you are. Know who you are. Yes. But NPCs are often sometimes the ones that mess up too. They can have a lot of issues. I have seen where NPCs, oh my gosh, I play Dreamlight Valley, which is like, I play Dreamlight Valley, and the NPCs, I decided, Elsa from Frozen, she was sitting there. She was like, yeah, follow me. And I was like, you know what? I just realized I needed to do something. I need to go sell something at the market. So I did that, came back. She started, she just like she was having a freaking seizure. She did not like the fact that I didn't go exactly according to plan. She did not like that. She was apparently just having a fit. I don't know why. With one command and one spawning. I've not really played Minecraft. Minecraft was something that was around when I was like 20 or 18. I think it started when I was about 18. It was more of a kids thing. I was trying Roblox at the time, and I just kind of thought, and I didn't really have money, so I didn't play it, and I didn't have money, so I didn't play it, and I didn't buy it, and uh, sounds like a lot of work, to be honest. It's like a sandbox thing, and it's pixelated, and was it? Was it? Okay, yes. Well, I think it was the multiplayer. Um, it was a multi. It became multiplayer, and I was about 18 when that came around, and they were. It was on mobile, like on Google Play and all of that, and it's on Steam and stuff like that too. But I never really got into it because it just was not. It maybe if I was younger, it would have been more my thing. But no, I was not around in 1981, so I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I was not alive. I was not alive in 1981. I'm not 40 years old. I'm not 40. um, it's not. It's not on Steam. Let me see. Let me see here. Because I have the Steam app on my phone. The Steam app on my phone, so let's see. Let's see. Minecraft. So we have Minecraft Dungeons, which is $20, and we have Minecraft Legends, and then we've got a shit ton of expansions. Well, yeah, a lot of expansions. We got Minecraft Dungeons and Minecraft Legends. I don't think that's the same thing as the mobile version. Yeah. I do see your point. I think these are just like versions of Minecraft that may be just not as good as maybe the mobile one. So yeah. You're right. Technically, you're right. That like there's not just Minecraft. Steam is always about that. They're always like, "Oh, but have this and it's better." I'm like, "No, it's not." As I said, there are certain games that just don't work. They don't work for lives. They don't work for doing like doing main streams because I was having a lot of trouble. See, I was having a lot of fun with Spyro Reignited. It was 3 games in one. It was the whole trilogy, and it's based on an old PlayStation game. But and it's a little bit difficult. But when I tried to play it and I went live, oh my gosh, like everything just went wrong. I think it's a cursed game. It's cursed. NPC is fighting like yes, Minecraft Dungeons might be like that. Actually, it might be like that. I don't know. It might be. Oh, they're redone. They're redone. Yeah, they're renditions of that particular game. They're probably not as good, I'd imagine. They're like Minecraft-esque kind of games. It's kind of like all the sequels for Five Nights at Freddy's. It's like Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. It's like completely different. There is a lot of videos. Oh, good. Fantastic. YouTube is where I go to watch these things. That's how I get it. I go there and I watch it. But yes, there are a lot of videos about that. I just didn't yeah, I'm not really playing mobile games right now. I'm playing Steam games. I have a lot of experience with mobile games, but not all of them are worth playing. And um, I'd have to kind of figure that out. It's fairly simple. It's fairly simple as long as I have Streamlabs, it'll be fine. But Streamlabs allows you to be live. Uh, it allows so right now I'm using video capture, which a video capture is literally just me. It's my face. And then I can make my face smaller. So it's like Markiplier. Not that Markiplier is small. No means is he small. He's okay. He's 5'10", but he's you can put it in a corner. You can put it over here. Put it over there. You can make it smaller, and then you can stream your game. And I thought that was really cool because I was like, wow, this is state of the art technology. You can do that now. But it's a little bit hard to get used to. It's difficult, but as I said, Spyro Reignited is cursed. It is cursed because it was not optimized for PC, and my controller is super glitchy. So I plugged in my controller, and it decided to just be stuck on vibrate. I ran into a giant spider, and it went bzzz, and it just kept doing that. And so I tried to unplug it, and I unplugged my microphone, which is a fixable thing. I just have to plug it back in. It's very fixable. You don't have to. But it is a frustrating game. I had 18 lives, and by the end of it, the controls were so bad, and I was getting so stressed out by the controls that I ended up with 1 life at the end of it. And I was just having technical difficulties throughout the whole thing, and that was not a good day. So Spyro Reignited, if you want to play it on your own time, fine. But I'm not gonna be live streaming that. I am not gonna live stream, and when you operate the mouse, the keys are not it's really hard to maneuver with the dragon, Spyro. When you go to full speed, so when you have your mouse here, this is my mouse. So when you have a mouse and you click this button, the right button, this is the right button, I believe, the right button, and you do that, you go really fast. You go, but you have to, in order to keep up with it, it goes way too fast for the mouse to even, so I have to put it on my pad and literally just float it up and then go like this. Bah, 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 and then do that. And it's not very responsive. It's very, very frustrating. And there is no double jump. I'm like, how are you managing with double jump? Saints Row has double jump. Every other game out there has a double jump button. But no. When Spyro wants to glide, he'll glide. You have to push, like, the space bar twice. But it has to be done at just the right time, or else you're going to fall to your death, and that's it. And when he glides, he doesn't just glide, ooh, yo, no, he goes, woo, yeah, he goes like that. It's annoying. It's annoying because I don't like that. That is freaking annoying. And I don't like games like that. It's an enjoyable game. I love it, and at this point, it's too hard to. I can't return it because I've played it for 4 hours. But I don't want to be that stressed out about a game, so I will play it, but it will be on my own time. I am gonna be playing probably a little bit of Skyrim. I'm gonna be playing Star Trek Online, Lord of the Rings Online. I might even do BioShock for you, because I bought BioShock and it was $5. $5, and so this is a weird thing. So I was on YouTube. I don't know how I came across this. I wasn't into games at the time. At least not Steam games, but I wasn't really into that. And I watched a video that was about the lore, otherwise just the story behind BioShock, and I was so impressed. It was a story within a story within a story, and it was just this like very it almost was Lord of the Rings worthy. It was so epic, and I love the game. And I'm gonna say a few times, like when I hear things, I mean, it's just a very dark game because you're in the dark some of the time. There's a minimal light. Most of the time you can see everything, but it's just like, it's very eerie. You're going around and then you hear these people, like screaming or talking to themselves. And they're all they're not right in the head. And the reason is they are a technological, so BioShock or Rapture is an underwater society that was literally all about equality. There's a 1950s feel to it, but it's futuristics. There's like flying cars. It's like Tomorrowland. But they had all sorts of things where they could change your DNA to where you could literally shoot lightning bolts out of your finger, or set things on fire with your hands, or use telekinesis to you talk to yourself. Then you're crazy. No. You need expert advice. You need expert advice. Of course you talk to yourself. We all talk to ourselves. But yes, these people are not so much talking to themselves. So it's a society where like there's plastic surgery that is like really awesome. There's all these things that you can take. It's literally, it gets to the point where it's kind of a cult society. It was trying to get away from society and make a new one, and it was a utopia. It was like a new, yeah, but they augmented. Otherwise, they added to themselves. They added like technology, and some of them had like plastic surgery and things were added to them. And there's something about the chemicals or the process in which they evolved that they went crazy. They went freaking crazy. They started murdering one another because something just went wrong. And so there's a mad scientist, there's splicers, usually they're pretty crazy. The way it goes is you have weapons, you have guns, you have a wrench for some reason. That's the first weapon that you get. And you have to this is an old game. I'm telling you, it's like 2004, 2006. It's pretty old. And it's been remastered. It kind of is a little bit like Resident Evil. Do I use Discord? Yes, I do. I do use Discord. Just wait a moment. I do use it. I believe my Discord Sorry, one moment. I'm just texting someone. Oh, it didn't work on commands. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But Bioshock is a classic game. It's like Silent Hill or Resident Evil. It was the first of its kind, and so it's very Resident Evil. It's a horror game, but there's science fiction involved, and it's a very, very dark rabbit hole that you have to go through, and you have to obviously keep your health up as much as possible. You will collect bandages. You will collect kits that will help with your health. You gather things around, but as you're going around, it's a bit scary because when you hear somebody, you will hear someone saying that, like, I remember there's this one time where there's this woman just saying, "Hush, little baby, don't," and she's like saying a little lullaby, and she's literally looking over a baby carriage, and you know that she probably did something to a baby at one point, and she's going crazy about it because she actually is singing in this. When she's singing, she's saying something about, that she's sorry that she killed that child in the stroller. So she kind of goes about and says that, and it's you don't want to go in there. I can see her shadow. I can see her going. I can see her shadow, and I'm like, I didn't want to. Yes. But no, I don't want to. I look at it and I'm like, I don't want to go in there. This is scary, lady. Sorry about that. I had to kind of turn my microphone off just a little bit, because sometimes there are other things that are going through, like other background noises. Um, for instance, yeah, there's sometimes people who walk right past me and that kind of thing. So I didn't want to take away from the live, but I am probably going to be getting off of here and enjoying the rest of my day because it's kind of a family night kind of thing today. So and I do need to spend time with my family, and I love. That's just wrong. That's just wrong. That's the whole point of being a Twitch streamer is you're supposed to interact with your live. Everybody does that, I thought. Like Markiplier and Jacksepticeye and Daz Games, they all do that. I mean, I understand, like, there's a lot of. I think the problem is, like, people have, like, thousands of people that are coming in and, like, they can't respond to all of them. But, you know, It's difficult. It's difficult to look at your screen and then do what you're doing. This allows me just to be one on one because I think that's important. I think I should be live without the headphones and just be present with people because I want people to know that I'm a friend, that I am accessible. I'm not some untouchable god that is greater than thou. I'm not doing this to I'm doing this. Yeah, of course I'm doing this for myself, but I'm also doing it for other people, and the whole point is like not just have followers but have friends, you know, and collaborate with your favorite your favorite content creators. And this isn't just a gaming place. This is a place where you share your talents with people. Let's not be a Nick Avocado, okay? Let's not do that. Let's not like I'm doing this for clout. Screw all of you guys. I'm doing this for me. I mean, that's really direct and really really honest, but like don't do that. But I think people lose that human connection with people because they get too big. Not egotistical big, but like they get too famous. I mean, a lot of people are really just they have a lot of we're like in real life. Yes, I'm keeping it real. That's why I'm on here. That's why I'm doing the lives so that I can keep it real. But I'm going to get off right now. Thank you so much for joining. Hopefully you've turned the notification on and you're notified when I go live next. And yeah, I'll be going live like this, and I also will be going live with my headphones and games going on as well. So it's going to be a bit half and half, and depending on what the day is, I might go live more just like this, or I might go live with gaming. But gaming is more planned. It's more planned out. Do I plan what I have to say? No, I just do it. But I do my tests and figure out if everything is working. So thank you so much for joining, Sammy. I will definitely come again, maybe later today, or maybe I think it's definitely a 99% chance tomorrow as well. So no guarantees today, but thank you so much for your input, and I have enjoyed talking to you, and I hope that we can become better friends. So you have a beautiful blessed day, and I'm gonna have one too.